All right, stand by. 10 seconds to go.
Ready, camera.
And cue talent.
2, 1.
Roll to record.
Schools have gone nuts. I'm John Phillips, and this is The Rundown. There are countless examples of political correctness overriding common sense in America's schools and colleges, but today we have two particularly insane examples for you. First, we have the Mercer Island School District near Seattle, Washington. The district sparked a furor after announcing it would ban the game of tag in elementary schools. Why? Well, according to their communications director, while at play, especially during recess and unstructured time, students are expected to keep their hands to themselves. The rationale behind this is to ensure the physical and emotional safety of all students, end quote. So tag is too dangerous and could jeopardize the emotional safety of kids. Parents naturally went bonkers, and the school district was quickly forced to reverse course, saying in a press release, quote, "The hands-off policy intended for unstructured play and recess, however well intended, has led to confusion, false reporting, and is clearly not supported by many staff and many parents. Tag as we know it and have known it is reinstated. Yes, we are a learning organization too," end quote. Another example of the same kind of nuttiness comes to us from Science and Technology School, Harvey Mudd College in Southern California. Students wanted to host a party with a mad scientist theme called Mudd Goes Mad and invite other local students, but got lambasted by student government at a neighboring school who said, quote, "We're disappointed at your rationale for allowing the name Mudd Goes Mad. Your disregard of the concerns of the mental health community and their allies trivializes issues that we deem extremely important to our community. Further, the exclusion of the mental health community in the discussion of allowing the event name is inappropriate," end quote. Got that? Mad scientists are offensive to crazy people. Many students correctly realized that this was stupid and went ahead and threw the party anyway. Some who are themselves struggling with mental health issues even attacked the PC police, saying it's actually more offensive to be treated like they're too fragile to handle a mad scientist party. So here's the question. Does the student and parent rejection of this PC lunacy mean America is finally recovering from hypersensitivity, or are the things going to get worse as new groups are constantly added to the protected list, like the mentally ill? To explore this question and much, much more, we turn to our pal, Scott Ott, who's a PJTV contributor and satirist in his home studio in Dallas, Texas, and here in Southern California, stand-up comic and PJTV contributor Stephen Cruiser. Cruiser, help me find the bad guy here. Is the bad guy this monster we've created called political correctness? Or is the bad guy attorneys who have made everyone so afraid of litigation or potential litigation that people now live in fear?
I would have to say that's not an either-or. I would have to say it's a little bit of both in that case. I mean, the litigious nature of this society, I believe Benjamin Franklin bemoaned it. I'm not kidding. I'm pretty sure he was warning against that way back in the day. But it's a huge combination of both. But it's and you see it at all levels of education right now, where they're so afraid of being sued about something. They're overcorrecting, they're overcompensating. I mean, the playgrounds now you have to spend a fortune in taxpayer dollars to get the stuff where the kids don't hurt themselves when they fall off, going on the slide or anything. But let me tell you a story about tag. The first school to do this, Mercer Island, that's great for being a Johnny-come-lately. But my daughter's elementary school in Santa Monica was the first school to do this a long time ago. It was a few years before she started to go there, and the ban was still in place when she got there, and I'd go to pick her up from school, and guess what I would see almost all the time? Kids playing tag. You know why? Because kids don't like to be astroturfed. It's a natural thing. Kids run around, they have energy they need to expend, and sometimes they touch each other, and it was a natural kid thing to do. And eventually the ban went away because they realized, okay, these are just kids, and it's kids playing, and that's what it is, and we're overthinking it and we're overcorrecting. So it's an attempt. There's nothing more harmful to the emotional safety of kids than really stupid adults.
Scott, human nature is human nature, and kids are aggressive, kids are politically incorrect, kids like to have fun, sometimes at the expense of others. Sometimes they just want to have fun, and we read too much into it, and we think they're having fun at the expense of others. But when you bottle up all of this natural desire to have fun in this capacity, and you don't let them express it at places like school or colleges, universities, I'll tell you what happens. It manifests itself in very unhealthy ways. If you go on to newspaper websites and you look at the anonymous comments that are there, sometimes even in our videos, Scott, people are so aggressive, they're so rude, they're so out of control, they say things anonymously that they would never say to somebody's face. They do it because they're at home, they close the blinds, they're there, nobody knows who they are, and they get it out that way. It's cathartic for some people. And I think part of the reason why things have turned so nasty in the anonymous forums is because we don't let people behave like normal human beings when they're on the playground in the 5th grade or they're in college. Your thoughts?
Well, yeah, and I don't know what it's like to be an elementary school student today, but I know that as I look back on my days in elementary school, the thing I remember most is punching people in the nose and getting punched in the nose. I mean, there was a lot of that going on when I was in school, and maybe it's just my personality that I wound up in so many of those situations, but there was a lot of physical interaction. And you know what happens, though? You tell kids that they can't play tag, what are they going to do? Out come the cell phones, they're going to be sitting at home, and they're going to be on Twitter, and next thing you know, you didn't want tag, now you got hashtag, and that's even worse.
If we don't let kids do these things, are they going to develop to be normal people?
I think we're already into the first generation of this kind of approach to children being out there in the general public now, and I think we're seeing that it's not working out. You're creating a nation full of emotionally fragile wusses, and kids aren't by nature emotionally fragile. They're like, oh, they don't remember, they move on to the next thing. I mean, if there are chronic problems at home, yes, that's one thing. If there's chronic bullying at school, yes, but the normal everyday is not. As a kid who was kind of not the toughest kid ever, but went to elementary school with nuns, I reject the notion that all kids are inherently emotionally fragile and need to be coddled. So I think it can't help but manifest itself in negative ways in adulthood, and I think we're seeing that a lot already.
If Scott Ott had a child that was attending this elementary school and tag was banned, what would Scott Ott as a parent do?
Probably some subversive thing. I think I may show up with a group of parents and go out on the playground and play tag. Because I wouldn't want my kid to get in troubles, so I don't want to tell my kid to go play tag and you like to teach your children. Here's the thing, as a parent, you want to teach your children to be respectful of their elders. But when their elders are barking lunatics who write press releases like that one from this school district where they're very seriously talking about how we didn't perhaps build in the stakeholder interaction process well enough as we, who are these people? They are not normal people, and every day somehow you send your kids into their care. I'd say this is the best argument for homeschooling and charter schooling I've heard in a while.
If I was a student in this school where they had this policy, even if I was 9 years old or however old the kids were that were banned from playing tag at this elementary school, I would lose all respect for my teachers. I would lose all respect for the campus personnel, the security personnel that would probably be the ones that would have to enforce it. I'd lose all respect for the principal, and it would carry over into other things.
I think kids, even little ones, are smarter than we give them credit for, and they kind of know when adults are just really, really, really wrong about something. I think somewhere deep inside of them, they know that. So I bet a lot of them already are. I bet a lot of them are just like, huh? Like, really? You're the adult here? And it's just, and I like your theory that, we're creating a nation of Ted Kaczynskis, too. I mean, that's because I really believe it. I believe, I believe that they can't, if you're going to make people withdraw, because that's what you're doing. You're making people withdraw. And if you're going to make them withdraw, there are going to be a lot more cabins in the woods with manifestos coming out in the next 20 or 30 years. So, but I do think that kids know that that's wrong.
Go ahead, Scott.
And John, can I throw in something else here? Because very seriously, because I've not treated this very seriously up till now, but very seriously, this suggestion by the school district was, at first, when they banned tag, they were encouraging kids to sign up for organized sports. This is the worst possible thing you can do to a child, to basically say to them, unstructured play between you and your friends is no longer permissible. The only time when you may engage in athletic activity is when Adults are running the process. And what you do is you raise generations of kids who don't know how to think for themselves, who don't know how to resolve conflicts, who don't know when to be courageous and when to be, necessarily submissive so you don't get your butt kicked. They don't understand how to function in society. And when you get up to the high school level, organized sports is reserved for the elite. Only a very few people get to participate in that, like Cruiser's daughter, and that is what I'm saying ultimately is Steven Cruiser is what's wrong with America.
Yes.
On that point, we all agree, Scott. But even to the point of organized sports, they're still scaredy little fraidy cats about that. They're trying to take football out of the schools,
They've completely
too.
wussified sports right now. It's just it's become this big babysitting project for young kids most of the time in sports. I was having run-ins. I didn't have that many run-ins with my kid's school because it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but I did bite my tongue because I didn't want her to get in trouble. But I had run-ins with a lot of the sports league organizers when she was younger. And we've only been focusing on this one. I want to go to the Harvey Mudd College thing too. I thought the point made by some people that you're disparaging those who are struggling with mental illness by saying they're too fragile to handle things like a freaking college party. I think that's a point that needs, because they're coming from an era where everybody wasn't coddled all the time still already. So older, people struggling with mental problems right now are just going, this is ridiculous. Stop with the coddling. Coddling is good if someone's going through a bad time in life. It's not good as a blanket for their entire lives.
I went to graduate school out there at Claremont Graduate University, and so I know what they're saying here. There were a lot of crazy people out there.
At Harvey Mudd?
Yeah.
The mad scientist thing is a cartoonish figure. Nobody's sitting there going, those people at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory are all, nobody's doing that.
I'm talking about the professors, by the way.
Yeah.
All right, that's all the time we have for today, but now it's your turn. Is America finally in recovery from politically correct hypersensitivity, or are things just getting worse? Tell us what you think in the comments section below, where you have complete anonymity to be as abusive as you want. I'm John Phillips. Thanks so much for watching The Rundown.